Okay, so hello and welcome at Morgan State University, the graduate program in sociology. So thank you for wanting to apply to this program. And in this first conversation, I'm joined by my colleague, Dr. Asha Layne. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and the things that you like to study about?
Thank you, Dr. Liu. Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Layne. My research interests are criminology, victimization, policing, as well as critical race theory.
That's great. And so in your many years at the Morgan State program, right? So you have trained a lot of undergraduate students, but now also we're doing the graduate program as we're basically moving into developing research capacity at Morgan State Sociology. What do you think that our program can offer to graduate students?
So, before I answer that question, a fun fact, I am a product of Morgan State University's master's program. And what I've experienced at Morgan as a student is the same thing that we are imparting onto our students, and that is the application of knowledge. And so, not to give away my age, but when I received my master's of science in sociology, it was 2009. And that allowed me to better position myself in the workforce. And it allowed me to really appreciate further my discipline in sociology and seeing how sociology is something that can be applied in the field of forensic science, because at the time my job was with Baltimore City Police Department Forensic Science Division, and that really opened my eyes to, just looking at how certain theories were really tangible. And it was not just about something in theory only and not in practice. And so I really did appreciate that experience, and it opened my eyes. And so when I teach master students, in the classes that I have taught during my tenure at Morgan since 2016, starting there, I was able to introduce that idea of applied learning into the lectures that we had. And it was really eye-opening. I really enjoyed seeing our students really understand that, for instance, the theories of Du Bois, Elijah, um, and other scholars really just was like about their own biographies and how they're able to shape the world and really make that their unique place. And so one thing that Morgan State University's graduate program, both PhD and master's level, does is really bringing that piece of applied learning into the classroom and allowing our students to experience that, whether it's through their own projects, papers, or even just through mentoring. I've mentored students, and I'm proud to say that the students that I've mentored are also coming up in the realm of teaching. Some of them are getting their PhDs as we speak, not only at Morgan, but other universities, or they're in the workforce. So one thing that our graduate program does offer is that applied learning and mentorship through guidance and service.
That's great. So we have a lot of great mentoring opportunities, and especially the link to the criminal justice field is quite important because I think that many of your students they've gone on to work for Baltimore Police Department or went to law
They're
school.
entrepreneurs, they're in education, right? They're just in many different job sectors. They're all over. So you just can't pigeonhole a sociologist, right?
Yeah,
Because we're going to be involved in everything, whether it's working in government, whether it's working in education, policing, all of these different institutions, you can find a sociology major or a professional sociologist.
And you've also hinted at the importance of mentoring of the graduate students and potentially even doing research with them. Could you maybe bring up an example or two about like how you try to get the graduate students to help you in your research or help them advance their research ideas?
Sure. I do not regularly teach graduate classes, excuse me. But when I used to teach graduate classes regularly, I would often bring my research to the classroom. And so, for instance, when I taught urban sociology master's level, I invited a colleague who was a co-author on a piece with me. And Dr. Torre, for instance, he was teaching at Yale at the time, and he was doing work right on Greenmount Avenue. If you're familiar with Baltimore City, that's a major thoroughfare here in Baltimore. And his research really added to the conversation about ethnography, right? Because when you think about that qualitative tool that ethnographers use in urban research, it's very pivotal. And we learned that with Elijah Anderson's work, and his epic pieces that were discussed in the classroom. And so having the research be part of the conversation, whether it's my research that I've done while being a PhD student at Howard University, or looking at collaborations I've done in the past with other colleagues, that was a centerpiece. And so in looking at my history with my graduate students, during the master's program, that was key because they were able to understand that all of the things that I was teaching them was not in vain, right? You too can write an op-ed, you too can make a paper into a publication, whether that be for a peer-reviewed journal or that could be an op-ed, and having other professionals, not just myself, who are also educators and professionals in their own right, say the same thing I'm saying to my students, it was very pivotal. And so the mentorship through guidance and mentorship by example was definitely relevant when I taught urban sociology, or when I taught other classes in the master's program. And seeing that cultivation from a first year student to their second or third year matriculation, and them understanding that, hey, I too can do this, was very rewarding.
Right. And so you mentioned the importance of mentoring for the graduate students. That's what we try to emphasize. Aside from that, is there any specific advice that you would want to give to, potential graduate students here, maybe from your own experience or from having mentored others, that predicts the success of graduate students?
Yeah, so the best advice was given to me when I was also in grad school. And that was, do not take anything for granted. And it may sound so mundane and so commonly said, but every day is an opportunity for you to learn. Every experience, every introduction is an opportunity for you to network. And, when you take small conversations and you just go beyond that conversation and start adding to, whether it's your dissertation or your thesis, that can evolve into something bigger. Do not take meeting a new person in your cohort for granted, or having that guest lecturer coming to your class for what they have to say for granted, because that person can share some wisdom that you may not know the importance until you're ready to use it, right? And go back and incorporate that information. So this is something that you've probably heard from your parents, guardians, peers, etc. But that is very important. Do not take anything for granted, because tomorrow's not promised, and you may not have that same opportunity given to you in the near future.
Okay, that's a very great insight into the graduate program. Thank you very much, Dr. Layne, for this conversation and addressing these questions.
Thank you for having me to be part of the conversation and to do this for the department here at Morgan State University. I wish we had this when I was getting my master's at Morgan.
Yeah.
So our cohort, they're very lucky to have this platform, the technology, and obviously, your initiative in making this something that can be shared to the wider public.
That's great. Thank you.